Hey, I'm really glad you guys have logged in today. Those of you who are here today, man, have I been thinking about you. I mean, it's been a crazy day as usual, in all that's going on, but you've been in my heart and my mind and my soul all day long as I've been doing my work here at home and going on walks. It was a beautiful day outside today. And man, there is just so much to talk about in this video. And I wanted to just gonna wait a little bit to see if we can get to the 7 o'clock hour. But boy, it's been a tremendous experience today just to go with the flow and I had some tough times. I had some tough times. I'm not gonna dodge that bullet at all. It was I woke up this morning and I was in the darkness. I really was. I was scared. I had doubts. I was feeling negative. I was snapping at people. I mean, that's just real life, right? I mean, everything that we're going through as a culture and as a nation, as a world, it all seems very, very dark. I mean, that was the subject we spoke about yesterday, right? So I'm thrilled that you're here. Again, I've been thinking about you all day long. All those people that have been on this FaceTime experience. Thank you for being here. You've been in my heart and my soul and my mind as I've been planning for the presentation today. So let's get right into it. Hey, I'm so happy to talk to you about this particular stanza in the St. Francis prayer that we've been discussing for nights now. Now, in this particular part of the stanza, again, the Lord, may I make an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. And yesterday is where there's darkness, joy. I mean, we talked about joy a lot yesterday. And the next one in is where there is sadness. I'm sorry, where there's darkness, light. What am I talking about? But this one is where there is sadness, joy. And boy, was I sad this morning. I mean, it was a beautiful day, but I had a tough time. I had a tough time. Actually, I had a tough time all day yesterday too. I can imagine that a lot of you are in the same place. And I can imagine, and I just wonder that, with everything that's going on, um, we must all have places of real sadness. I mean, if we're not dealing with this virus ourselves, we know that a lot of people are. And it's pretty hard to miss the despair that's coming across the TV and on the news media and any kind of social media that you're getting. It's dire. But by the same token, I want to share with you what lifted me out of that place of darkness and that place of sadness because and I want to acknowledge that it's okay to be sad. Oh my God. I mean, we feel sadness in all kinds of ways today. I mean, we feel sadness towards those who are getting ill. We feel sadness at this disruption in life. We feel sad about our kids, having huge disruptions in their life. I think we feel sad about ourselves. I mean, I don't think many of us have ever experienced anything like this. And I mean, the total disruption of our lives. I mean, it's just it's sad. And I think sometimes in our culture we missed the memo, and the memo said, "Don't be sad." But the truth of the matter is, it's a normal emotional feeling. And there's all kinds of sadness in all kinds of our texts. I mean, but here's the joy in the dichotomy, if you will, of sadness and joy. Right? These two polarities are teaching us something. They are teaching us something. So what can you do? What do I do? Let me tell you what I think is helpful to get out of this sadness because it can be a pretty dark hole. Call it a rabbit hole, call it a gopher hole, call it whatever you want to, but it's dark and it's sad. And in all kinds of traditions, there's all kinds of ways to do that. I've got a bell right here. This is a bell that I picked up in India, and it's a Tibetan bell. And all I have to do is hit it and just listen to it, and it perks me up. And I use it quite often when I want to center my life and my soul and my heart and my mind. And it kind of reminds me, okay, what can I do to get out of this rut? What can I do to get out of this sad, dark place and this place that's filled with bitterness and resentfulness and anger and disappointment and a kind of a mean, despairing, judgmental place, right? I'm sure that many of us, and many of you know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about how we can do that. There are mantras you can sing. I mean, if you're in the Christian tradition, okay, there's little things that you can pray about. You can say, Jesus, help me, over and over and over and over again to quiet the heart and the mind and the soul. Uh, in any of the Protestant or Catholic traditions, you could say the Lord's Prayer over and over and over again. In some of our 12-step traditions, there's always the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We can say that over and over and over again. There are hymns to sing. There's the Gloria Patri in some of our traditions. There's ways to chant ourselves out of despair. I know you can do that in the Hindu tradition. You can do that in the Muslim tradition. I learned some things when I was in India that I might be able to use to get me out of myself. Because you know what? When I'm stuck in the hole of despair, when I'm in the darkness, when I'm in the sadness, I know that that's not a natural place for me to hang out. And I've got to figure out a way to get out of that place. Because if I don't get out of that place, then I'm going to be a suckhole for the rest of the people around me. And my whole day could go down the drain. And I don't really want to do that. I know you don't really want to do that. So what we're going to do here is try to find a way to get out of the sadness and into the joy, right? But recognize that if we weren't sad, we really wouldn't be able to experience joy. I mean, this is the crazy thing about our lives, right? We need these polarities in order to understand how to find some balance. Okay, I'm not denying the sadness, but I am going to say, let's get into the joy. So let's do it right now. So, if you can, I'm seated kind of comfortably. My feet are on the ground. I'll say this again because it's kind of important in all peripheral traditions that we ground ourselves, right? We have our feet on the ground. Energetically, in my world, that means that I'm connected to the earth. And if God is hovering around me, which I'm pretty sure God always is, I mean, God in all traditions is an ever-present entity, right? Always available to us. So feel God coming down through your head, through your body, and into your feet, and let that energy just flow all the way around like a circuitous circuit. And if you want to close your eyes, I like to close my eyes when I pray or when I meditate. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to invite God to be part of our lives right now. We're going to ask us to be quiet. So, and I'm going to ask that the presence of God as we understand Him, and that could be through the Jewish tradition, that can be through the Christian tradition, that can be through the Muslim tradition, that can be through any number of the gods in Hinduism, and the presence of Buddha himself. However you feel God is in your life, then I honor that. And certainly in meditation, because it's really all one. God would have wanted all of us to be one at this point in time in our lives. Because the whole community of saints right now, meaning all people in the world, are unified in this one kind of global threat. So why don't we be unified in our one common mantra and prayer for God's presence among us as we fight this disease on multiple levels? So find that Spirit of God. Find Him. Breathe. I mean, breath can be a mantra. How we breathe matters. So take some deep breaths. Go in and out. In and out. And feel the peace of God flow through our hands. Feel the energy. And know that while there is pain out there, and while there is sadness, there is also the joy that comes with knowing that we can make a difference. We can make a difference through the contribution of our prayer life. We can quiet our minds and our souls and meditate on a daily basis. I've traveled through the Muslim countries. They have their call to prayer 5 times. I've also been in Christian traditions where it has said to pray 7 times a day. To stop what you're doing, which is what we're doing now. We're asking you to stop what you're doing. Stop cooking. Stop listening to the TV. Turn things off. Close the door. Jesus would go up into the mountaintop or go into a separate room. Find the peace. Quiet the mind. The mind is a terrible place. It will find its own way to distract us from being quiet. But at this point in time, I'm asking you to do that. Feel the grace. Feel the energy. Feel the spirit. Feel the calm. Feel the peace that passes all understanding as we center our hearts and we quiet our minds and we lift up our souls. I read something beautiful today about the soul. And when you strip away the personality, when you strip away the character, when you strip away all of the education that we have, what are we left with? God's perfect, divine soul of a being that's desperately trying to connect. And that's what I wanted to say to you all. This is such a chance to connect. I was disconnected yesterday for a time. I was disconnected this morning for a time until I was able to quiet myself down, until I was able to listen, to the voice that was speaking back at me through my prayers. Now, prayer is a wonderful way to speak to God and ask for things and ask for direction. How we listen to God is in the quiet that follows, in that still, small voice. So find that now. Open up your heart. Quiet your mind. I received a beautiful text today from a friend of mine who's been on these calls for a while. She's a nurse. And if she's on the call, she knows who she is. And it was such a wonderful testimonial. She is on the front lines here in the state of Connecticut. And there's no doubt in my mind that she is doing everything in her power to be helpful, to be loving, to be considerate, to be kind, and to be professional, and to be helpful. And I pray for her. I pray for her husband. I pray for her family. Because this is a tough time. But we need to find times in our days when we can pull back and maybe we can weep. Maybe we can open ourselves up to God to ask for strength, for hope, for knowledge, for patience, for kindness, for consideration. And I pray that we all find the room in our lives to be kind to ourselves. Because none of us can do this by ourselves. None of us can. And I pray for those who can, who think they can, because I just don't understand it. We're here for each other. And this is probably the only time in my relative lifetime where I've ever seen that everybody's been on the same page. I mean, the fears are the same, the gratitude is the same, the hopes are the same, the darkness feels the same, the confusion and the what's the word? The disconnectedness feels the same. Or right now we have a chance to connect and ask God to be a very present help in times of struggle, in times of challenge, and in times of pain, and in times of sadness. These are the moments when we reach out beyond ourselves. We reach out. We reach out for something deeper. We reach out to be examples of, of strength, of confidence, of awareness, of wisdom. I ask that you find that today, that you find that peace of mind, that you pray for depth and recognize that if enough of us throw pebbles into the lake of this world, that send ripples of comfort, ripples of peace, ripples of health, ripples of social distancing, ripples of kindness and joy and love and compassion and sincerity, that those ripples will mount and they will create waves of awareness and waves of support and waves of joy and love to those shores that desperately need these kind feelings. Somebody said to me the other day that when he walked outside, he just could just feel that the energy of the neighborhood was different, that there was a universal feeling of kindness, a universal awareness of, of, of nothing short of love, really, and a sense that we're all in this together in ways the world has never seen or has not seen probably since the Second World War. So feel that power, feel that strength, feel that love that emanates, that saturates, that penetrates our bodies, our hopes, our dreams, and our prayers as we cast them out to the world around us, to our families, to our children, to our loved ones, to our grandparents, to our elderly, to our nurses and doctors and healthcare workers, to all those who are deemed essential in the scope of the workforce, to those creating brand new programs of help and awareness to the world around us, to those who are being lights, to those who are sparking new ideas, to those entrepreneurs out there coming up with new ways to reach people and help solve big problems. After all, we're in the business, many of us, of helping people find their joy, helping folks dispel their fear, because fear is a huge commodity right now, and we don't really want it to have any currency. We need to let it go. So grant us peace, O God. For in sadness, we kind of are in a position to cleanse our heart, to ask for help, to see things that are bigger than we are, and to ask for things that are bigger than we are. I mean, it's a very humbling experience. When you stop to think about it, God, when we cry, we wash away our despair. We wash away our obstinacy. We lower our guard and we become vulnerable. And that's where we find the joy. So I can see, Lord, this being a great chance for humanity to finally let go of the thought we can't control and to seize the reins of God in our lives and ask God to take more charge of what we do and who we are. And that's what the real opportunity is. So bless us and keep us and guide us, but most importantly, send us into a world full of joy, because that is going to help sustain the world around us. All right, everybody, have a great night. Feel deeply, because that's the ticket. Feeling deeply so that we can experience life and its joys deeply. Amen. Be well, and I love you.